Hey, awesome people. I hope you are having a phenomenal day and super exciting things on your agenda this holiday week. I just wanted to take the time to do a little video talking about your holiday success strategy plan. I know that everybody this time of year has their 2 cents on what to do surrounding the holidays and all the different ideas for going in with the game plan, but I just want to chat about what you can do to set yourself up to enjoy the holidays, not deprive yourself, but do so on purpose and with purpose, as Dr. Kashey would say. So whatever that looks like for you, if that means taking a day where you just completely relax and don't worry about tracking, or if that means that you're going to track everything that you eat and fit it into your typical macros, or whatever that looks like, that on purpose and with purpose is up to you to decide. So you don't have to, do things a specific way, how you think you should. So hopefully this will give you some ideas of how to set yourself up for success regardless of your approach. You can actually utilize any of this that I'm going to share today for holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas is coming up, really any party or event or even vacations. So the first thing I want to be very clear on is that, yes, holidays is about enjoying people, but let's be real, the food is yummy and it's okay to actually enjoy your food, especially with some of these things that are only around, this time of year. What I do want you to think about is in terms of what you're doing and how you're eating these days, even though they might look differently than how you would typically structure your eating any other day of the year. Don't think about it in terms of being off plan, okay? Because life is always going to include holidays and vacations and get-togethers. So really, it's best to look at this as just being part of the process rather than some kind of deviation from your plan. Again, even if it doesn't look the same as you would typically eat on a day-to-day basis. Because what happens is if you look at this as like being off plan, right? Then you look at it as a day of getting everything out of your system, having it while it's, available, and it leads to this Last Supper mentality, which sets us up for, if it's not overt binging, then at least leaving the table feeling more stuffed than we would want to be. So that's the reason why you don't want to view this, one of the reasons anyways, as being a deviation from the plan. Because remember, holidays, vacations, fun events, they fit into life, and the goal of this is a lifestyle, sustainable, right? Okay, so the day of, don't starve yourself going into the meal, right? Okay, some tips on how to approach your nutrition so that you can set yourself up for success. Make sure you prioritize protein earlier in the day. That way you can enjoy some of these carb heavier things that tend to be on our plates at Thanksgiving or other holiday events. Also, I think it's best to think in terms of picking one meal that's really going to be your fun meal. So some families, they get together, they have breakfast, they have maybe snacks and appetizers, and then they go into the Thanksgiving meal, and it just stretches into like one long day of eating these foods that really don't necessarily make you feel your best. So prioritize protein, pick which meal you're going to have as your fun meal, and kind of navigate the other things. Maybe skip the breakfast if there is some kind of breakfast, have your own thing on the side. Don't have to have appetizers before the meal. Just prioritize protein, pick your meal, and that's kind of how I would like to see people structure their day. Also, remember, again, this is a on plan, so you don't have to think in terms of compensating for whatever takes place on this day, right? Just get right back to it, just the same as you always would. It's not a deviation from your success as long as you think of it in terms of this full picture. The other thing is don't deprive, okay? So allow yourself some of what you truly want. Just do so in mindful portions. Also, it's great to go in with a plan. So a lot of times we know if we're getting together with family or friends, there tends to be the same, menu from year to year. It might vary a little bit, but know which foods that you will choose if they're there and which ones are actually worth that limited stomach space, because you only have so much and you want to take advantage of eating the things that are the yummiest and utilizing that space, right? Another thing to think about is leftovers and how you're going to plan for that. So whether you're the host and you are wanting to make sure that you aren't left with tons and tons of food left over, or if you're the person attending and you want to decide if the host offers you food to take home, if you actually want to take it with you. So have a strategy, kind of in mind, whether you're the host or you're an attendee, how you plan to navigate that process, whether or not you do want leftovers and what kind. So, maybe you do want some of the protein-rich things, extra turkey, some gravy, but maybe you just want smaller portions of the more like desserts or starchy or heavier things that you don't typically eat on a day-to-day basis if they don't make you feel your best. By all means, if you can take those leftovers home and fit them into your plan, I am not saying you can't do that, okay? I'm just saying have a game plan, whether you're the host or the attendee, for what you want to do for leftovers, so that you're not just making a spur-of-the-moment decision based on somebody offering it, right? Another option is, in terms of the food that's there, you can offer to bring a healthier option or, a different version than what's typically served, just to make things a little bit lighter, and that you have something at least to join with whatever proteins might be available. You can always have, a couple of veggies, bring something yourself, and then count on like turkey or ham or that kind of thing, whatever the meat is for the occasion. The other thing is to be picky. You don't have to have a little bit of everything. You can, if you want to, have a few bites of everything, but don't finish off anything that you don't feel like is actually worth it. It's okay to leave something on your plate. So, a lot of people feel guilt over that, but truly nobody's going to notice, right? So don't even worry about it. Don't feel pressure to finish it if you don't want it. Another thing that you need to be aware of is to have a plan for food pushers. So if you didn't watch the last video that I did about how to say yes to yourself when others are kind of pushing food on you, that video kind of covers a strategy that you could use. But some just other things in terms of like a Thanksgiving holiday meal itself, if somebody's like, oh, did you get some of this? Make sure, as you're fixing your plate, you can always say that you'll get it on your second trip if you make a second trip, so that their feelings aren't hurt if it's something that they made, or if they made it especially for you. 1 or 2 bites isn't going to hurt. Go ahead and get a little bit and let them see you taste it and, ooh and ah over it, that kind of thing. But don't feel pressure to eat like a whole serving if you don't truly want it. Another good thing to utilize is explaining to them why you're choosing not to have it. So maybe it's something that just does not make you feel your best afterwards, and you let them know that, that's the reason why you're not choosing it. It's not that, you're too good for it, or, any other reason like that. But when they understand that maybe you don't feel your best. So say, for example, somebody who's diabetic, they can't load up their plate with mashed potatoes and dressing, or, stuffing, whatever you call it, all of the carbs, mac and cheese, and then desserts, and then expect not to feel really bad or even have some really high blood sugars as a consequence afterwards. So if you explain to them that feeling your best is just as important as someone who maybe has a medical condition, then a lot of times it puts things into perspective for them. Something else to think about is to have a fun activity plan for the day. So it's up to you whether you want to do your typical workout or just kind of let that be a rest day so you can enjoy extra time with your family. But activity itself, in terms of like something else to do, like my mom, for example, usually when she has us over, is she will plan some kind of fun activity and craft that both the adults and the kids enjoy, so that there's just something to keep us busy. And, it's something that we get excited about besides just the food, okay? Is spending time with one another and doing that activity. But I do encourage, if you can, just get some kind of movement in. You'll feel better, especially right after the meal, maybe go for a walk and that kind of thing. At the meal itself, really, really important that you enjoy mindfully. So what that means is setting your fork down between bites and engaging in conversation, because the last thing you want to do is like be eating and talking and then get done with your plate and realize you didn't even really taste the foods. And they are really special foods typically this time of year. So set your fork down, engage in conversation, make the meal last, savor every bite. And the next thing is to eat to about 80% fullness. This is hard because, again, the food is always good, right? You're always going to want to eat more. And especially this time of year with these foods in particular, it's just, we look forward to it, anticipate it all year long, and then it's hard to stop. But remember that the food will always be there if you do decide you want more. And again, you can always take leftovers, work it into your, a little bit here and there throughout the course of the remainder of the week. So that FOMO, that fear of missing out or disappointment that the food is gone, isn't such a big deal, and you're able to stop when you're comfortably full. Something else is alcohol. So I don't personally drink, but I have my own reasons for that. But I know this time of year, a lot of people enjoy a few fun alcoholic drinks, or maybe spiked eggnog or wine with their meal. Just be cognizant, the calories do add up in addition to what you're already eating, but moreover, it's like the inhibition that alcohol causes to maybe deviate from the plan and intentions that you went into the meal with. So just be careful, have a game plan of how many drinks you plan to enjoy if you do, and then hit up the water, make sure you're staying hydrated if you do plan to drink. Also, the biggest thing that I would say is think of decisions, regardless of what you plan to do for the day. Think of them in terms of how you want to feel afterwards. So if you can think in terms of how you want to feel versus, the mindset of being able to or not being able to enjoy certain things, it really makes all the difference in the world. So I will tell you my personal strategy for holidays is, because I still don't always get it right. Sometimes I end up eating too much, or sometimes I eat something and finish it wasn't worth it. But the last couple of years, it's just gotten easier and easier to stop when I'm comfortably full and say no to the things that just aren't worth it, because with practice, you kind of figure things out. But my strategy, if anyone wants to utilize it and you're interested, is basically when I take my plate, I get a little bit of everything that looks good to me, especially if there's new dishes that, at somebody's house and they make something that's, I've never tried before. I want to try a bite or two. And then I want to get a little bit larger serving of the things that I know I've had before and love. I will eat that. I will finish what is worth it if I have the space for it, and I will not finish anything that just isn't worth the stomach space. I don't eat anything, beyond comfort level, or try to. But what I do is I allow myself to take a smaller plate and portions the first time around, and let myself plan to have a second trip to go back for a little bit more of everything that I really, really loved and want another helping of. And then typically, if there's dessert, my strategy is to have smaller pieces of, again, anything that sounds good, and taste it all and finish what's worth it, and stop when I'm comfortably full. Only those things that are worth it and are the best. My husband jokes with me about, if it's not worth the stomach space, I'm not going to waste it. So that's my plan. Let me know what you plan to use from this video. Any of these tips were new or helpful, and tag anybody who you think might benefit from listening. Beyond that, if you are interested in learning more of these types of strategies and streamlining your nutrition in a way that sets you up for success without feeling deprived and still getting to enjoy holidays, vacations, and all of these fun activities, you can use the link in the notes section of this video. I will have two things. I will have a link to schedule a free call with me where we can chat and strategize and see if the Kashey Nutrition Kickstart program would be the right fit to help you achieve the success you have in mind. Second of all, if you want a taste of what it's like to work with us, no pun intended, I will have the link for the best nutrition group ever. You can join that totally free, and other than that, again, let me know what you found helpful, what you're going to implement, and I will talk with you guys soon. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.